Welcome to the deep dive. You ever set a big goal, feel super motivated, and then poof, back to square one in like a few weeks?
Happens all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah. Or maybe you're just searching for a way, a simpler method to make good habits actually stick.
Uh-huh.
Well, if any of that sounds familiar, today's deep dive is exactly for you. We're plunging into James Clear's, really groundbreaking book, Atomic Habits.
It really has changed the game for millions when it comes to personal growth, lasting change.
Totally. So
Yeah.
our mission today, it's more than just a summary. We're really dissecting the most impactful stuff, the actionable insights from this book,
Right.
focusing on those practical, maybe even surprising strategies that you can, use right away in your own life.
Think of it like a blueprint for engineering your behavior.
Instead of just like hoping things change.
Exactly. And to really get the genius behind Clear's approach, we got to start with his core metaphor.
Okay.
Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement.
Yeah, that one's powerful.
It is, because it flips how we usually think about change, right? We
Yeah.
chase these huge transformations.
Mm-hmm.
But Clear argues, no, real change, significant change, isn't about those massive leaps. It's the steady, often tiny improvements adding up over time, consistently.
That's such a key shift in perspective because it goes against our gut feeling that you need huge effort for huge results.
Right.
So what's a common way people kind of misunderstand that compound interest idea when it comes to self-improvement?
Well, I think it's often the expectation of linearity. People expect this smooth upward curve, like looking at a bank balance.
Yeah, steady growth.
But with habits, those early returns, you barely see them. It might feel flat for weeks, months even.
Right.
So the misconception is expecting those immediate, obvious gains. But the reality, as Clear points out, is progress often feels flat until suddenly it doesn't.
You hit that point.
Yeah, what he calls the plateau of latent potential. Bam! All those little efforts suddenly click and you get this exponential growth.
Yeah.
Understanding that delay is so crucial so you don't quit too early.
That's a great point. It really highlights needing patience, consistency, rather than those flashy short bursts of effort.
Exactly.
Okay, so if these tiny actions compound, how? How do we actually start building them? Clear lays out this fundamental structure behind every habit, good or bad. His habit loop, it's a 4-step process, right? Explains how our brains learn and automate things. Can you walk us through those steps?
Absolutely. Think of it like the basic code for every action you do on autopilot. First up, the cue.
The trigger.
Exactly. The signal that kicks off the behavior could be seeing your running shoes, could be that phone notification buzz.
We're just walking into the kitchen.
Right. It's basically your brain scanning for a potential reward.
So it's not just a reminder, it's almost like an invitation for what comes next.
Precisely. Which brings us to step 2, the craving. This is the engine, the motivational force, the desire for a change in state.
Okay.
And what's really insightful here is you don't crave the habit itself, you crave the feeling it promises.
Ah, right, like the comfort or relief or success.
Exactly. You don't crave checking your phone. You crave the distraction, maybe the connection it offers. Getting that difference, that's the first real key to hacking the loop.
I like how Clear breaks down that craving part.
Yeah.
It often feels like the bit we can't control, that kind of insistent urge. So craving hits. Then what?
Then comes the response. That's the actual habit you perform.
The action itself.
Putting on the shoes, grabbing the phone, pouring the coffee. It's the behavior that hopefully satisfies the craving.
Okay.
And finally, number 4, the reward. This is the payoff, the satisfaction, the good feeling, the benefit you get.
And that reinforces the whole thing.
Totally. Makes you more likely to do it again next time that cue pops up. It's your brain going, yes, that was good, remember that.
What's so powerful about understanding this loop isn't just, knowing it academically. It's empowering, right?
Immensely.
Because once you see the steps, you can intentionally design good habits. And you can start to dismantle the bad ones. You're not just like passively letting your habits happen to you.
Exactly right. Knowing this framework gives you leverage, a powerful lever. Want a good habit? Make the cue obvious. Make the craving attractive. Make the response easy. Make the reward satisfying.
And for bad habits.
You just flip it. Disrupt the loop. Make the cue invisible. Make the craving unattractive. Make the response difficult. Make the reward unsatisfying. It gives you this clear roadmap. Turns you from a passenger into the pilot of your own habits.
Okay, but understanding the anatomy, the structure of a habit,
Yeah.
that's only part of it.
True.
Clear then gives us the actual blueprint for engineering those habits, his 4 laws of behavior change,
Yeah.
which are super practical.
Yeah, they're almost like algorithms for manipulating that habit loop we just talked about.
Let's dive into the first one then.
Okay, law number 1, make it obvious. This is all about making the cue for your desired habit as visible, as apparent as possible.
Using your environment.
Exactly. Your environment's a huge cue. If you want to read more, he suggests, put the book right on your pillow or on your nightstand. Can't miss it.
Makes sense.
Want to remember vitamins. Put them right next to the coffee machine or whatever you use first thing. Make the visual cue unavoidable.
It's about making the good choice, the easy choice, the obvious choice. But what if the habit itself isn't, inherently exciting? How do you make it more appealing?
Ah, good question. That leads straight into the second law. Make it attractive. This is about boosting the appeal, often using something called temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling. Explain that.
So you pair something you want to do with something you need to do. An example from the book might be, say, you only let yourself listen to your favorite podcast while you're exercising.
Okay, I see.
Or maybe you only get that really nice cup of tea while you're tackling that boring work task.
Yeah.
You make the less appealing habit more attractive by linking it to something you already crave. So you satisfy a craving while doing the habit.
I love that. Leveraging an existing desire. Feels less like forcing yourself and more like, smart design.
It is.
But even if it's attractive, sometimes just starting, the effort feels like too much. Which brings us to the third law. This one I find really clever.
Ah, yes. Make it easy. This rule is all about lowering the barrier to entry, overcoming that initial inertia. And this is where he introduces the brilliant 2-minute rule.
Or 2-minute rule, right.
The idea is simple. Commit to doing the new habit for just 2 minutes. That's it. Want to run. Just put on your running shoes and step outside for 2 minutes.
Not run a marathon, just start.
Exactly. Want to write a book? Just open the document and type 1 sentence. Or type for 2 minutes. The magic is just committing to that tiny start often gives you the momentum to keep going much longer.
It lowers the resistance so much it feels almost silly not to do it.
Precisely.
And the power of that rule isn't just about tricking yourself into starting, is it? It's also about building the identity.
Yes, building the identity of someone who does that thing. Even if it's just for 2 minutes, you showed up.
It's about the routine, not the outcome initially.
Totally. And once you've started, to really make that new behavior stick, we need the fourth law, make it satisfying.
Oh.
This one highlights the absolute need for immediate gratification. Our brains learn best with immediate feedback. That little reward right after, it's not just a nice to have.
Yeah, sure.
It's a direct signal, a little dopamine hit telling your brain, hey, that felt good. Log that. Do it again.
So right after you do the habit, give yourself some small immediate reward. Could be checking off a box, which feels surprisingly good.
Oh, yeah.
Or just taking the second to acknowledge, hey, I did it. Maybe a small treat. That immediate positive feeling reinforces the whole loop for next time.
Exactly.
These rules sound almost, deceptively simple. Are there times when applying them is actually harder than it looks?
That's a really good question. It touches on the nuances. The laws are powerful, definitely. But the challenge often comes in, say, correctly identifying the real cue or the actual craving driving a behavior. Or finding a reward that's genuinely satisfying but doesn't, cancel out the good habit. Like if your reward for working out is always a huge slice of cake, maybe not the best synergy there.
All right, creates a conflict.
Or sometimes your environment is just so deeply ingrained, making a bad habit invisible is really tough if it's tied to your job or your family routine. It takes real creativity sometimes and consistent effort. It's not always a one-time fix.
Makes sense.
But connecting this back to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
the real elegance of these 4 laws, it's how perfectly they mirror each other for breaking bad habits. You don't need new rules.
You just invert them.
Exactly. To break a bad habit, make it invisible, hide the cue. Make it unattractive, reframe why you even want it. Make it difficult, add friction, make it harder to do. And make it unsatisfying, remove the reward, or maybe even add a small immediate downside.
It's very systematic.
It makes habit change less about sheer willpower, more about smart design, environment design. So for you listening, maybe think about one habit right now. Good one you want to build, bad one you want to break. How could you apply just one of these laws or its inverse today?
That's a great challenge.
Okay.
So zooming out a bit, what does this all really mean when we look at maybe the deeper philosophy in the book? We got to talk about identity-based habits.
Yes. This is huge.
It goes beyond just setting goals, right? It's about changing who you fundamentally see yourself as.
Right. It's a profound shift. Clear gives this great example. If you say, I want to read a book, okay, that's a target, an outcome. But if you say, I am a reader, that's different. You're changing your identity, your self-perception. And that, Clear argues, is where deep, lasting change really happens.
Okay, but why? Why are identity-based habits more sustainable? What's the magic there?
Well, what's fascinating is when you adopt an identity, your actions stop feeling like chores. They become expressions of who you are. Your actions start to reinforce your self-image. And crucially, your self-image starts driving your actions. It becomes a positive feedback loop. If you truly believe I am a healthy person, choosing the salad over the fries feels more natural. It aligns with who you are.
It's not forcing yourself against your nature. It's acting in line with your nature or your chosen nature.
Precisely. It shifts from doing to being.
That makes total sense. But, okay, what about someone who's struggled for ages with a negative self-perception? Someone who thinks, I'm just not a morning person, or I'm awful with money. How does Clear suggest you even start to believe I am an early riser or I am financially disciplined when all your past behavior screams the opposite?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And this is where the power of those tiny atomic habits comes right back in. You don't just wake up and declare a new identity and magically believe it.
Right.
You have to prove it to yourself with small, consistent wins. If you want to be a writer, you don't start by tackling a novel on day one. You start by writing one sentence every day.
Just one sentence.
Just one. Each time you write that sentence, you're casting a tiny vote for your identity as a writer. Over time, those votes add up. They accumulate. And the story you tell yourself about who you are starts to shift based on this mounting evidence.
So the small habits are the proof, the evidence for your new identity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You build the belief through the action, however small.
You know, one thing I really appreciate about Atomic Habits is just how accessible it is, the practical design.
Yeah, it's written really clear.
It's super easy language,
Yeah.
no dense academic stuff.
Yeah.
And those little summaries and action steps at the end of each chapter, they make it so applicable. You read it, and you immediately know what you could try, which is great for you listening right now.
Absolutely. No, some listeners, maybe those familiar with behavioral psychiatry, Skinner, or maybe Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit,
Right, another great book.
they might find some core ideas familiar. The habit loop, cues, rewards, that's established territory. But I think Clear's real genius isn't necessarily inventing everything from scratch. It's how he distills it, how he synthesizes it into this incredibly clear, step-by-step, almost algorithmic system.
Like a user manual for your brain.
Pretty much. And yeah, you could argue there's some repetition in the book, but honestly, that repetition kind of helps reinforce the key principles, makes them stick.
Sure.
Its standout strengths are definitely that simplicity, the systematic breakdown, and how relentlessly action-oriented it is. It really feels like a practical guide for doing, not just understanding. It cuts through the noise, gives you a clear path.
So there you have it, our deep dive into Atomic Habits. I think the core message is pretty clear, right? This isn't just a book to read and, put back on the shelf.
Not at all.
It's really a practical guide, a blueprint, maybe, for making big changes in your life through those small, consistent, everyday actions. We definitely encourage you to explore these ideas more. Maybe grab the book yourself. Start applying some of these atomic principles today.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe just one final thought to leave you with. Something provocative to consider.
Okay.
How might shifting your focus, shifting it away from what you want to achieve, and instead focusing on who you want to become, how might that fundamentally change your whole approach to your daily habits? And in turn, maybe transform your entire life?
Wow. That's a powerful question.
Think about that one tiny action you could take today. Just one vote for the person you want to be. Remember Clear's message. Small habits really do bring big changes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for diving deep with us today.
Thanks for having me.